All right. Well, let me start by introducing myself. My name's John Young. I'm the Vice President of Dean and Dean of Admissions. You probably, if you're in this chat, received a letter from me at some point or another in this process. So let me start off with a big hearty congratulations to all of you and to the parents as well, because you're a big part of this. There's no question about it. And my colleague, depending on where she is on your screen, is immediately to my left, Allison Boland. Allison, you want to introduce yourself and we'll get things
Sure.
moving.
Congratulations, everybody. Parents, if you're here, students, if you're here, if it's aunts, uncles, grandparents, whoever it is, welcome to our first, kind of virtual event. We had two earlier today that were super successful, and we all understand where you are. And, you're in your living room, you're wherever, if that's okay, we get it. So congratulations. I'm an associate director of admissions. I'm obviously at home tonight as well, and really looking forward to meeting you all. I recruit students from actually locally Rochester, Buffalo, Syracuse, above and below all of that as well. And I also have a son who is a senior this year, headed off to college. So I'm right in the wheelhouse of where you all are with this. So welcome, and we're looking forward to a great event.
Allison and I planned our families really well. She's got one who's a sophomore in college. I've got one who's a first year in college. Then she's got one who's a senior in high school, and then I've got one who's a junior in high school. And then Libby will bring up the rear.
Then my daughter will
Your
be,
daughter.
she'll by then, who knows what'll be happening.
So parents, we feel your pain is all I can say
Yes.
when it comes to all this. I want to keep my remarks to a minimum. I don't want to overwhelm you with a big presentation here, but I certainly want to hear from all of you. I think that this session is really designed as a question and answer one. Let's talk about everything, and because we have all these programs that are fairly specific in nature that you can all sign on to, and let me encourage you to do that. You can learn more about Hobart and William Smith, I think, through some of these virtual programs than you would from visiting campus in person. So take advantage of those opportunities. But sessions like this, we really view as a catch-all that we can talk about just about anything and everything. And if we don't know the answer, we promise to hunt it down, find out the answer, and we'll get back to you probably tomorrow with anything that comes up today that we can't answer. So let me, Allison just put in the chat the link to the admitted students webpage that will list all of the different sessions that we're doing. But let me also remind you all that we are actually open for business. Students can arrange visits to campus. We've been doing tours since the summer. So we send out a family at a time with a tour guide. We have you fill out your health questionnaire before you arrive. We take your temperature when you come to the building, and then ask that you keep your mask on the entire time that you're walking around campus, but you can certainly get a lay of the land. We've actually, for admitted students, designed some enhanced visits where one of our senior interns will actually just pick up the phone and call you, and once you've scheduled an enhanced visit, they're just going to get on the phone and say, help us to understand what's going to make the decision for you. Are there people we need to connect you with? Are there things you need to see? Do you just need to have lunch in the dining hall? Whatever that might be. So let me encourage you all to take advantage of those opportunities as they present themselves. We want to try to keep everybody safe. We've been doing a terrific job on our campus. My understanding is that we're now over 3/4 of our faculty that have been vaccinated, and I think we're moving online. We've been in person for the last 2 semesters. So we're moving in a line that's going to make us wide open for the fall. So I think people, incoming first year students, prepare yourself to be in person. Everything's going to be going on live this coming semester in the fall. So we're excited. Let me start by saying, look, if you're in this process, and let me share my screen, I've got I think some slides that will help you see all this. Hope you can all see that. That if you're looking at us and other small liberal arts colleges in particular, I think in the global scheme of things, we're a whole lot more alike than we are different. When I get together with my colleagues from other schools, we're all talking the same language. We're trying to do the same thing. But I think each of us as an institution delivers education a little bit differently. And that's really what I want to talk about. I think there's some real points of distinction about a Hobart and William Smith education that are truly important for our students as they think about their experiences. So I really want to highlight 3 things: that we are a future-focused liberal arts and science college, that we're going to provide you tons of mentors. Mentorship is a big part of life at the colleges. And also we have these really amazing centers around our campus that will allow you to connect with people of specific that have similar interests to really explore some really interesting things. So that's really what I want to talk about pretty quickly, and then turn it over to all of you to have Allison and I answer your questions. All right, so first, as we have traditional liberal arts majors and minors and some untraditional ones, but I think our curriculum really helps you build skills like critical thinking and quantitative reasoning, the foundation for ethical judgment, communication skills. We are constantly innovating and coming up with new programs, new majors, new minors to prepare you for life in the 21st century. And I think a perfect example of that is our most popular minor, entrepreneurial studies, and because it matches so well with any major you choose to pursue. And to me, you've got a curriculum that's a 7-course curriculum, 4 core courses and 3 elective courses that really are going to give you both a foundation in entrepreneurial studies. Entrepreneurship Leadership 101 is a great course. I think everybody should take it. It really explores the leadership qualities of great entrepreneurs. You learn about product invention, about risk and return, about scale and scope. Service innovations. It's an amazing course. Then you move on to Entrepreneurial Studies 120, or if you like more economics focused, you can take Economics 160, but that's really foundational understanding of microeconomics and the theory necessary to pursue entrepreneurial enterprises. From there, it's one of my favorite courses on all of Hobart and William Smith's campus. It's Entrepreneurial Studies 201, which is quantitative tools, which basically teaches you accounting, statistical and Excel skills that would be necessary to be a minor in entrepreneurial studies. And it's all capped off with a 400 level course called our Capstone Project, where you identify and tackle a real life challenge, either of social, economic, or global environment, anything that's going to be of interest to you. And you end up creating a really cool plan to attack that problem. That's the core of entrepreneurial studies. Then you take 3 elective courses that can be in areas of interest to you. One of them has to be in ethical judgment, but then the other 2 are up to you. There's a huge list of courses that you can take. So there's the academic piece. You can see that on the far left side, the learning. But then there's really the doing part, right? Here's all the things now that you marry the mind and the hand. Here's what you've been learning in the classroom. Now let's put that to work. And we've got these great co-curricular programs like the hackathon, where you can have a really neat experience building some knowledge and doing some things that are cool. But then we've got these big extracurricular programs like the pitch that we just had on our campus, where we had 4 of our students with their new business ideas compete for $10,000 in seed money. It was won this year by one of our sophomores, Matt Newsom, who had a brilliant business idea. It's a nonprofit organization. What he was trying to do was work with elementary school students to get them introduced to the idea of recycling and composting. And the way he did that was design a lunch plate that's multicolored, so that when you're done with your meal, you move all the different things on your lunch plate into a different color that is associated either with composting, with recycling, or what will go in the landfill. We want to introduce this idea to students early. He won the competition over some really great ideas. So to me, here's a perfect example of a minor that we offer that is very future focused in helping our students do amazing things. Another big part of who we are is mentorship. You can't go to a small liberal arts college and not put a premium on the people that you work with. But our faculty and our staff are really dedicated to their students. And to me, the best example I have for the mentorship that we develop is the system that we use to put you in your first semester courses your first year. I think it's one of the biggest challenges for incoming students is to choose their courses for their fall semester. And like a lot of schools, we've got a big computer system that lists the 450 courses that are available for you to take. And like most schools, you go in and rank order them. But unlike most schools, that just doesn't then spit out a schedule for you. We take your list of prioritized courses and we give those to your first year dean. And then in admissions, we go and meet with your first year dean and tell him or her everything we've gotten to know about you over the last year through interviews, reading your application, essays, high school visits, college fairs, you name it. However we've interacted with you, we're going to share that information with your dean. And they're going to put you in your first year seminar class and one other course, 2 out of your 4 courses your dean will be responsible for. Then you're going to meet with your first year seminar professor, who will become your advisor until you declare a major. And together, the 2 of you will choose your last 2 courses. So before classes have even started here, your dean gets to know you really well, and your first year seminar advisor has gotten to know you really well, and they're going to help you navigate that transition from high school to college, which can be a challenge for many people. But I think the mentorship piece here, that's just one example of many that exist, but we treat it very seriously. And one of our first year deans, Dean Kenzig, after the first 6 weeks of the semester, and she's talking to her students, she will ask them, and this is her test to know if we've done well, can you name 3 adults on our campus who care about you? And if the answer is yes, we're good. We've done our job. If the answer is no, I can't come up with those, then we've got some work to do, and let's make that happen and make it happen quickly. It's the key to success at a place like HWS. You can see we do, I think, a terrific job with our curriculum, but all of this is done through relationships and through mentorships. You take 4 courses each semester, 4 courses in the fall, 4 courses in the spring, 32 courses over your lifetime at the colleges. But to have that advisor to help you navigate all that is absolutely key to success. All right. The other thing I mentioned is these centers. And to me, what's really neat about HWS is that we've got these groups who spring up who want to solve a problem or come up with something that they all care about together. And let's work in unison on that. And we've really developed a great number. These are just a few of the centers that we have on campus. The Centennial Center for Leadership that was done in honor of the William Smith Centennial. The Finger Lakes Institute for the study of the Finger Lakes in our area. They do amazing research. Bozzuto Center for Entrepreneurship is a downtown office building that our students use. Gearin Center for Performing Arts, that's where theater, dance, and music are based on campus. And the Center for Teaching and Learning, it's in the 2nd floor of the library. They take a real leadership role in helping students get better at just about anything. They coordinate our Teaching Fellows program, our Writing Colleagues program. Any students with any type of learning difference, that's where you go. The fact that it's on the 2nd floor of the library is perfect because students are always in the library, so it's really easy to take advantage of those resources. Those are just a couple, but I really want to highlight one. And that is the Salisbury Center for Career Professional Development here. Our Career Center professionals are really geared towards working with students from the minute they arrive on campus till after they leave. It is a lifetime commitment for us. And most of our students walk in the door and they may not know what they want to major in, much less what their career is going to be. But when you get to meet some people in that office, things start to move in a really good direction. And we have a great program called Pathways. It's a 4-year career development program where you spend that first year doing a little assessment, get to know somebody in the office, take those Myers-Briggs tests and all the fun interest inventories that just help you get to know yourself and your own skills and your competencies, what you're interested in. Then let's start moving to the exploration stage and connect you with members of our alums who have volunteered. We have over 5,000 in the database that are willing to help our students with the next steps in their lives. Then you can see how things move from there. By the time that you are finishing your sophomore year, you should really have some great ideas for internships. Then by the time you come back for your senior year, it's about making those connections, marketing yourself, and landing those positions. One of my favorite programs that the Salisbury Center has is a week-long career exploration trip that students can take on the break between semesters. One of our career services professionals and one of our faculty members will lead a group of about 20 students to New York City. Another will lead a group to Los Angeles. Another will lead a group to Washington, D.C. And you bounce from our alums office to office to office to office to office over a couple of days. And you come back. If you're really interested in communications, go with Professor Holly to Los Angeles and start your visit with Brad Falchuk, who's one of the executive producers of American Horror Story and Glee and has won tons of Emmy Awards. You think that's what you want to do? Spend a little time with him. And if you don't, then let's move on to one of our alums who's working at Saatchi & Saatchi, a great advertising firm. If that's not it, then go spend time with Bill Whitaker, 60-Minute correspondent and West Coast correspondent for CBS News. Over a couple of days, now you come back with that idea. If you follow our Pathways program, we guarantee you an internship or research. It's a guarantee. And we guarantee you a stipend for it if it's unpaid. We found way too many students get that amazing internship offer or that great research experience, but they can't afford to give up their summer job back home scooping ice cream to go live in Washington, D.C. for the summer and have a great experience. Let's get you a stipend so you can afford to do that and have that on the resume by the time you leave. You could see all the places that our students go. It's really incredible. And that way, this becomes a much easier process to navigate. I was talking to one of our sophomores just today in the office, and he was really struggling with some of the internship offers he has for the summer. In a certain moment, I had to look at him and say, Jesse, rough life, right? My heart's going out to you. You've got 4 great internship offers. I just want to make sure I choose the right one. That's a good problem to have. And I love the fact that our students are having these terrific opportunities. All right. To me, I think you're going to find, this is all my contact information, so please, write that down. You can find it all on the website. There's nothing really easy to contact all of us if you go to our webpage. But I think you found in Hobart and William Smith an institution that places its students' future at the forefront of everything that we do through mentorship that maximizes their students' potential, through experiences that spur great discovery, through inquiry that tackles emerging challenges, through community, and that's a big part of who we are, that deepens belonging, and professional preparation that accelerates students' careers. I think you found a great institution that can really help. I've talked enough. Let me turn this over to all of you. What questions can we answer? What can we talk about that will help students and parents learn more about the place? Feel free to type them in the chat. Allison can funnel them right towards me, or please, she knows them well enough.
So the first question, John, is when and how will the student meet with those adults to put together their first term schedule, which is an awesome question and so
Great
normal
question.
and typical. Yeah.
Let me talk a little bit in detail how that works. So in May, all of our enrolled students will get a username and a password that will give them logins to our orientation website. Shortly thereafter will be the list of first year seminars that are available. And actually, if you go to the admitted student webpage, you can see a list of what last year's seminars are, just so you can get a sense of what's out there and who's teaching them. We ask students then to rank order those first year seminars and then next those courses that they want. Once the deans put you in your first year seminar, then they're going to look at your potential intended majors, other things to choose that second course. So you can imagine if a student indicates they want to go to medical school, that second course is going to be a biology or a chemistry class. If students are saying they want to go to law school, that second course is going to be a political science class or a history course. Then what you'll do is you'll start connecting with your first year seminar professor because they're the ones that are assigned in that class. You'll communicate over the summer, but during the first day of orientation, that's when you will meet with your first year seminar professor and choose those 2 courses right here in person on our campus. So it's a great system that we think works really well for us.
I am confused by the next question. Oh, are these sessions recorded in case we can't make one?
Yes, every single
Yes,
one will
I was
be,
like,
and they will all be posted out there for everybody to see. We'll have a bevy of these.
Love it. What percentage of students go on to grad school?
Right upon graduation, we'll send about 25% of our students right after grad school. More often than not, that is a master's in either law school or medical school. People who are going off to business school are usually going to work for a couple of years before they do that. And most of those companies will then pay for that graduate school program. So that's a neat option that's available to them. Or they're going to go off and get a master's in an academic discipline. So we'll send students all the time off to get a master's in chemistry or a master's in English. We have currently 1 master's program on our campus. It's a master's in teaching, but the faculty has just approved a master's in management program that's now in the process of being approved by New York State. So that'll be an option for a 5th year. If a student wants to do that, we should be able to offer that starting this fall, knock on wood, but all the courses have been set and we're ready to start teaching those classes. Some students who might be really aggressive could potentially get their bachelor's and master's in management in a 4-year period if they wanted to do that. So they'd have to overload some classes here and there, but it's certainly a possibility that's out there. This sounds horrible, but forgive me. We find when the percentage of our students who go directly off to graduate school rise, it's usually an indication that the economy is not doing well and students can't get jobs. When we find that number goes lower, it means it's been a great job market. So it's interesting how consistent that is for us over time.
Oh boy. Do the introductory courses tend to be larger? And if so, what is the average size? Great question.
Sure. The average size of our 100 level, which would be our introductory courses, last year was 23. So it's a little bit larger than our average class size of 16, but still, I guess, reasonably small. We have two fairly large introductory classes at Hobart and William Smith, introductory biology and introductory psychology. Those tend to be our two biggest. They'll be pushing in the 30s. But for us, that seems really big. So we try to keep things small at our place. All of our classes are taught by faculty. We don't have any graduate students or teaching assistants teaching our classes at the colleges.
We have a student who wants to live, study, and work in Europe. How would he start down that path?
Well, all you have to do is ask Allison or me, and we'll be happy to help and be the chaperone on that trip. So from the studying perspective, we have over 60% of our students who will take advantage of a study abroad program. One of those centers that I mentioned is the Center for Global Education, and they're actually working right now to select students for the study abroad programs for next spring. One of the neat things at Hobart and William Smith is you apply to study abroad a year before you go. We have over 50 programs to 35 different countries. What I think is really special about the Hobart and William Smith study abroad experience, and one of the reasons we're always ranked so highly for study abroad, is that most of our trips are led by our faculty members. We don't just put you on a plane and send you off to London. We have a professor who will lead that trip. So typically when you go, one or two of your classes will be taught by the faculty member who's leading the trip. One or two of your courses will be at the university, wherever home base is. And then you'll do a research project or an internship, something that gets you out in the community wherever you're studying. But let me encourage you all. I know the question was about studying in Europe, and we have tons of programs all over Europe. But let me encourage you to think about other continents as well. One of our most popular study abroad programs is to Vietnam. I don't know many students who think about when they go to college and I want to study abroad that Vietnam's at the top of the list. But once we announce that trip, there's a line out the door. It's an amazing opportunity for our students to immerse themselves in an entirely different experience than they're used to. You name it when it comes to Europe, England, France, Germany, Italy, Spain. One of our most popular programs is to the Netherlands, Belgium. We have trips to Hungary and the Czech Republic. Think big, they're great. And I think, as you mentioned, it's about living and working in Europe. While you're on one of these trips, you'll be doing an internship that could get you set up for that career post HWS. And we've had many students who've done that.
Are there courses available to study in the summer? Great question.
We have two summer programs. We have one called Maymester. So right after graduation, literally the day after graduation, students will be in a 3-week, very intensive one class, and it meets almost all day. For 3 weeks, and they get the equivalent of a semester's course credit for that class. And then we have something called Summer Session. Same type of approach, but not as intense. It lasts a little bit longer. That starts once Maymester ends, runs pretty much through June and into the beginning of July. So those are our summer programs that are terrific for our students. I think a lot of them use them either sometimes they want to get ahead in something, they're thinking about studying abroad, and there's this great professor teaching a summer program. I want to jump on that.
One question on our websites, the campus visits just kind of go through April at this point. And I think one of the reasons that is because of all of the changes. I think we're going to see some big changes, hopefully, as we move forward. So yes, we will continue to have campus visits in May and throughout the summer. And any day that John Young can get us all in the office, he will have us all there. So there will definitely be options. I think the reason they're not out there is because there's so many changes right now and we're really focusing on April. But yes, there will be dates available in May very soon, I'm sure. And now that we've just said that, tomorrow morning, that will be the first agenda item on our meeting. So yes, there will be more dates coming for May visits for sure.
So that everybody knows, New York State has been one of the I guess I don't, leaders might be a bad choice of word, but they've been very strict in terms of travel restrictions in New York State, and those are going to change on April 1st. So there won't be any quarantining or anything that's required for visitors to New York after April 1st. So as you plan travel and think about that, come April 1st, it'll be much easier for students and families to visit our campus.
Any other questions?
Oh, this is good. We had fun. We did this really, oh, and Allison, you put all the links out there that I was going to talk about. You did a great job.
I try. I will say, I know John mentioned it in the beginning about that admitted student website, the Classes of 2025 website. Check it, look at it, scroll all the way down. There's so much on there. It's sometimes overwhelming, but there's so many opportunities to see things, to check out things that we did last year that will likely be very similar this year, like the FSEMs, for instance. Opportunities to come to campus, opportunities to sit on virtual sessions, which I know you're all sick of, but at least we can, do a better job than we ever have with those. If anyone needs anything, you can always reach out to any of us. We're always happy to connect.
Absolutely. And for those of you, I know for a lot of students, one of the real fun parts of visiting a campus in April is seeing the other admitted students who are there. And we obviously want to provide students an opportunity to do that in a safe way. And usually when students are visiting in April, in a non-COVID time, we have these big admitted student open houses where you can see here are the 50 other admitted students who might be coming to HWS. I think for a lot of our students, the Hobart William Smith Classes of 2025 Facebook page has served as that, and then students can connect there and then make their own groups and do a bunch of different things. But I think that's a great place for you to meet some other admitted students if you choose to do it. We are hopeful that we'll be able to host some in-person, small but in-person admitted student events that aren't individual the way we have them now come April. So we're working on putting those together.
One great question, John, before we go, because I think this is really great to touch upon, is how has the school been doing with COVID? Do you test weekly?
Yes, we do. So here, let me talk about a little bit about that. I think our student life staff and our president have really taken on a huge leadership role when it comes to COVID and how the colleges were going to do everything we possibly could to preserve in-person education for our students. And we were, I think, through a lot of students' diligence, through a lot of planning on our staff, we never had to shut down things or go remote in the fall semester, and have not yet had to do anything this spring. So students at Hobart and William Smith were all tested when they returned to campus, both in the fall and both in the spring. We quarantined them for a period of time and then tested them again. And if they were successful and tested negative, then they were off to do what they do. We've really encouraged students to stay close to their residence halls. Most of our clubs and activities have been meeting virtually rather than in person, but we don't have any incidents of transmission, knock on wood, through any school-related academic function. So going to class, going to the library, going to the dining hall, we don't have any evidence that there's been any transmission of COVID through those routes. The only times that we've had students test positive for COVID has been through off-campus interactions. It's when they've been social and probably shouldn't have in off-campus settings. So right now we have students in two groups. They're tested every 2 weeks, not every week. So there's actually 4 groups of students, A, B, C, and D, and they're tested at different times. So every 2 weeks, our students are tested. And we've done over 9,000 tests this semester. It's been, we're getting really good at it, I think, as an institution. We've partnered with the Broad Institute in Cambridge, which is the gold standard for testing. And we're partnered with some other colleges so that we actually literally drive the tests out to Cambridge. So they're there in the time window to be tested and returned to us within 24 hours. So we'll do some rapid tests when students show symptoms, and then we'll do the PCR testing as part of our standard protocol. And as I mentioned at the beginning, that we've now had almost all of our faculty have been vaccinated. So things are moving along quickly. And for those of you not from New York, I think the ability to get a vaccine in New York has accelerated pretty quickly. The governor just announced today that anybody 50 and over can get a vaccine. Anybody right now in a college setting that is public facing can get vaccinated. And that includes our student workers. Anybody who works in food service, anybody who works in admissions and is meeting the public, all of those students can be vaccinated as well. So it's been a really interesting process, but things are moving along well.
Anything else?
What haven't we talked about a lot?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to one more time type my email in the chat. So please don't hesitate. If anything comes up, if you need to be connected with anybody, if anybody has questions, if anybody needs to talk to anybody in financial aid, if we can connect you with people, we are good at doing it. So don't hesitate, and we'll get back to you as quickly as we can. I see this question in the chat. For athletes, how do student athletes find the balance with their classes and practice matches, especially away matches? It's been real easy this fall because nobody had any, but now that we've started off spring sports again, I've had a couple of students that have stopped by saying, wait a minute, this is hard. I would love to say it's simple and people just do it and it's no big deal. I think it takes planning on our student athletes' part. And I don't know that we recognize the commitment that they make to their sport and the significant time that that takes. We do a terrific job in preparing students to do that in terms of scheduling, working with every one of our sports teams has a faculty advisor that will meet with the members of that team to make sure they're staying on top of their academic work and answer any questions. So I think they do a really good job. That said, I do think student athletes make some sacrifices in order to be successful in the classroom. And I find those sacrifices aren't academic, they tend to be social. It's probably one less social event a week because they've got a commitment that they need to make. We play in the Liberty League with most of the small liberal arts colleges in upstate New York. So it's great competition for us to be playing St. Lawrence and Union and Skidmore, Ithaca College, University of Rochester. So there's Vassar College, great competition, very like-minded institutions, and I think that works well. We have one Division I sport, our men's lacrosse team, and then a couple of sports that technically aren't divisioned, rowing, men's rowing, squash, so some other opportunities. But we have 23 varsity sports that we want our student athletes to be successful. Allison, have I missed anything?
There's one more question. I mean,
Sure, great.
How does work study work? So where do we go to find and apply for work on campus?
80% of our students work, so we're used to that. And when work study is a part of your package, you're going to be directed to our human resources website, and there'll be what's called opportunities for students. There's a link right there, and that'll usually get posted in July before students come back. And so you can certainly throw your applications in before you get back to school, but we allow students to use the first couple of weeks to do that. We package for most students a $2,000 work study package for students who qualify for that. That typically means about 8 hours of work a week. And that can range from the dining hall to work in admissions to checking IDs at the fitness center to working in the library shelving books. So there's a ton of different opportunities for our students. And I think students really like to, it's one of those ways they build those connections with adults is through their work study opportunities. I know Allison and I love talking to our student workers, and it helps gives us a pulse of what's going on campus. But I think for students, it allows them just to have those surrogate moms and dads on campus with the people that they get to work with. So I'm a big fan of work study on campus. I think it's great.
I think that's it. I think we got to everybody.
Excellent. Please don't hesitate to shoot me an email. We'll respond as quickly as we can. Congratulations to all the students. This is great to see so many familiar names and faces as we go through this process. And Allison and I are ready to help any single time that we can. So parents, please also don't hesitate to get in touch if we can be helpful. But congratulations again. Let us know if we can be helpful, and enjoy the rest of your night.
Have a great night, everybody.